God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my guide, hold me closely to his side, with love and strength for each new day. He will make a way. He will make a way. Good Friday morning to you. Hope you're having a great week. Hope you're having a great day so far today. You know, it's sometimes among popular belief that an abundance of material and other blessings flow or follow those whose hearts are truly after God, those that are close to God, those that have a good relationship with God, and that those who seem to consistently struggle to that end can't possibly be in God's perfect will. And it's kind of a popular belief among just culture in general. But I wonder if we have that backwards. I wonder if that idea is backwards. Let me tell you what I'm thinking here. Think about the wilderness. When we read Scripture and the times that different people spent time in the wilderness, it was a tough time, it was a rough time. But many men of great faith spent time in the wilderness. We read about Abraham, he spent time in the wilderness. Moses spent time in the wilderness. John the Baptist came out of the wilderness. Even Elijah, the prophet, spent time in the wilderness where God shaded him and fed him and then revealed himself to Elijah at the mouth of the cave. There was a reason for all of that. God had to put them in situations where they became desperate, where they were desperate enough that they needed to be quiet and undistracted enough to hear his small and still and quiet voice. He had to put them in a situation where they became hungry and thirsty enough to cry out to God and be willing to listen for his voice. In Isaiah 43:19, God says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." Interestingly, the word for wilderness in Hebrew is midbar. Midbar. And midbar comes from the word ledabar, or ledaber, which means to speak. Now think about that for a minute. The word wilderness comes from a Hebrew word that means to speak. When we can look at those situations where men spent time in the wilderness and God spoke to them in some way. Some of us, some of you, are walking through the desert right now. It's a hot day. It's there's only rugged, thorny, sandy terrain for miles and miles, and there seems to be no end there. At night, the wind is unbearably cold, and we stumble over things that we can barely see. Snakes live there, scorpions live there, and it seems like a lonely place. But if we think about it, the wilderness can actually be a place of blessing, a place of growth, ultimately for a purpose that God sent us there. In Isaiah 41, verse 18, God says, "I will make rivers flow on barren heights and springs within the valleys. I will turn the desert into pools of water and the parched ground into springs." God is constantly doing new things and wanting to create new things and make us new in different ways. And like it or not, the wilderness is where he can speak to us most effectively. It's the place he can most easily get our attention. It's the place that we're more likely to cry out to God and to truly listen for his voice. I read this quote and I thought it was interesting. It says, "In adversity, we usually want God to do a removing job when he wants to do an improving job. to realize the worth of the anchor, we need to feel the storm. God is constantly trying to improve us, to help us grow, to help us to become more than we've been before. And so let me encourage all of us to know that God is with us today. He's walking along with us through the wilderness that we're in, and He's wanting to comfort us, and He's wanting to grow us and stretch us and to make us stronger than we were before. And so let me encourage us to cry out to Him, and let me encourage us to listen to His voice when He speaks to us, to listen as He helps us to grow, to change, to mature, to stretch, whatever that might be. Let me encourage you today that we all need the wilderness. And the wilderness is a good place for us to grow closer to God and to become more of what He wants us to be. After all, on the other side of the wilderness, as God promised us, the promised land awaits. And so if you are in a wilderness, I want to encourage you to keep walking and to keep listening for God. And if there's something that we can do to help you, or just a way that we can walk with you through the wilderness, please let us know so we can pray with you and walk with you in whatever way that is. Hope this is encouraging to you. Hope you have a great weekend. We'll look forward to seeing those of you a Sunday that get to come to worship. And if not, look forward to seeing you on the live stream. But just know that I love you guys, miss all of you guys, and hope that you have an encouraging weekend. We'll see you next time.